Hoax Hunter Razimus here. Ever since I burned this book, I've had more and more success. I have a new lighting, new studio, new camera. And it's all thanks to burning this book. I can't rip that, but I'll rip this. Here it is. Ever since I burned the horrible book, I would say this book by Crispin, Helly, and Glover has more insight than that fake Illuminatium book. It's called Concrete Inspection, and I recommend you check it out. He's a very cool guy, Crispin Glover. He's somewhat of an enigma. On to the subject at hand. This episode is about the White Room. Now, this horrendous book, the Illuminatium, which I burned in a couple episodes ago. For those that claim I didn't read it, I did read it. To prove that I did read it, there are 33 tenets in the book. I consider the tenets the all bold and all caps, separate from paragraphs. These tenets are hilarious. I'm going to pick through them and show you some of them, or all of them, in my explanation or rebuttal, or you'll just see what I have to say about those 33 tenets. They obviously chose the number 33 for the clear and obvious reasons everyone talks about 33. Look it up yourself. This episode is not about 33, but this episode is about the White Room. Now, the White Room is a huge red flag in this book. The White Room is a concept they ripped off from the Illuminatus trilogy. It's an old trilogy from the 1970s. I have read some of it. There are 3 main beginning series. They were first published by Robert Anton Wilson and Robert Shea in 1975. These books, the Illuminatus trilogy, they're considered science fiction. They're considered adventure fantasy stories, including drugs and sex and magic, and it's way out there. The chapters that I did read seemed to me like they were heavily influenced by drugs as they're being written. It's not something I recommend if you don't like stream of conscious graphic details that are not for kids. It's definitely a trilogy for adults. Well, let me state by saying the Illuminatus trilogy is total fiction inspired by a fictional religion called Discordianism. I'm not going to talk much about Discordianism. You can look it up. It's on Wikipedia. It claims to be a real religion on Wikipedia of all things, but then again, you could make a religion 10 years ago, and if you have a big enough following, Wikipedia can claim your religion's real. Discordianism is like a chaotic religion of total chaos. Read about it yourself, but it was clearly fictional. But the book that the Illuminatium First Testament were heavily inspired by was the Illuminatus trilogy by Robert Shea and Robert Anton Wilson. And Robert Anton Wilson, I believe, is an agnostic mystic. And I would even go farther and say he's pretty occultic, pretty much into the occult. So the Illuminatus trilogy is the first mentioning of the White Room, where the Illuminatium heavily borrowed from. But the big red flag in the Illuminatium book is the fact that the White Room is a physical place that 2 planes crashed into. This is a huge red flag, because the White Room in the Illuminatus trilogy is clearly symbolic. It clearly is not a physical place. So the Illuminatium people, they ripped it off, but they didn't even understand the concept they were ripping off. The White Room represents complete illumination and understanding. It represents the illuminated eye above the pyramid, that symbol that we all are very familiar with. And that symbol isn't exclusive to one organization. That symbol was not invented necessarily by the Illuminati. It wasn't invented by this church or that church necessarily, but it's one of the most ancient symbols, the eye. In a pyramid specifically, or in a triangle specifically, it became popularized with the Illuminatus trilogy in 1975. You can see it before then. It does exist on some churches as the Eye of Providence, as the Eye of God, and then there are those that say it's the Eye of Lucifer. just to let you know, I delved deep into this subject, and I wanted to, get some insight that no one else has had. I found many references to a white room in multiple movies, and I'm going to be showing a few examples of these movies. I don't think these movies, the directors or writers of these movies particularly purposefully, consciously were getting this from some type of a mythology about a white room. I think they just happen to use it, and it just happens to coincide with that possibility. The white room is really not much of a mythological thing. It's not very much of a talked about thing because it's nothing. And there is no white room, except for symbolically, you might say there is an illuminated state. And as I was researching the eye within the pyramid, I wanted to honestly know. I wanted to know where the eye symbol on the back of the dollar bill came from. And I watched a documentary that was all about Luciferianism and people who worship the devil. And they talked about an eye stone or a sorcerer's stone. And somewhere or another it led to the emerald tablet and went into moldavite. And moldavite is a green glass created by meteorite impacts. But this episode will scratch the surface concerning the white room, but there is no white room. The white room doesn't exist except for symbolically, which is why the Illuminatium completely fails. They describe a literal white room with literal people walking in it naked, but wearing white robes, and a table that is completely translucent, so no one can bring in their cell phone and start recording with the recording devices. So that's the level of intelligence these Illuminatium anonymous authors have displayed. The intelligence of a white room with white tile, and everyone's wearing a white robe, and the table in the white room where everyone sits down to discuss the world events happens to be translucent, just in case someone brings in a cell phone and records the conversation, or brings in a listening device. They'll see that listening device because the table is translucent. That's literally the level of intelligence you're going to get from this Illuminatium, the First Testament of the Illuminati. This book is a piece of crap, and everything in it is a piece of crap. The 33 tenets in it are a piece of crap. Tenet number 1. The Illuminati's purpose is to secure the ongoing survival of the human species, especially humans that retweet us, share our book on Facebook, and give us 5 stars on Amazon.com. Especially those humans. Tenet number 2. Freedom is an idol of the human species. They're demonizing freedom because they want you to believe freedom doesn't exist, so they can control you. You will see the following tenets are very manipulative. Tenet number 5. Your life's journey has led you to this moment. Redundant statement. Everyone's life's journey has led everyone to this moment watching this video. A scam statement designed to suck in the weak-minded. Which leads us to tenet number 6. This book contains truths about your world. A very generic statement, and I've read the book, and the book doesn't contain truths about jack squat. It seems every word in this book was written to seek out the most weak-minded individuals on the planet, to use them as social network spammers to get people to buy this book. Tenet number 7. Approach this book with a mind that is open for revelation. But if your mind is too far open, your brains will fall out, and this is what the author is counting on. A foolish mind is void of any logic and reason. Tenet number 10. True power begins with the relinquishing of control. This is what they want you to believe so they can control you. Relinquishing control is not power. The retired pope has less power when he relinquished it to the current residing pope. Completely false statement. Tenet number 11. Though you choose to read this book, it was our subconscious cues that led you to this page. This quote is the biggest ego stroke, and it sounds like something an egomaniacal sociopath would have written. Tenet number 14. There are no secrets, except for the anonymous coward that wrote this piece of garbage. Tenet number 15. We know and see all, just as a shepherd knows and sees all of his flock. You don't see jack squat, and you know it. Tenet 16. A false sense of security reveals the deepest secrets. Sounds like someone who has studied psychology for the purpose of manipulating people. Tenet 18. Wealth is a lie. Money is merely words. Wealth is a Lie? That's the name of the next book, Chapter 1. PayPal us all your money. Tenet 19. Words are the wealth of the wealthy. Knowledge is the power of the words. Words are only the wealth of a writer like George R.R. Martin or Stephen King, but to a dancer or a mime, their wordless performance is their wealth. Tenet 21. Without belief, all treasures are valueless, and all power ceases to exist. They would like you to believe that your money is worthless, so they can take that worthless money off your hands. Tenet 24. War is a liar who claims there isn't enough land, isn't enough wealth, isn't enough food for all people in all places to live in abundance. Yet you start the wars in the White Room, so you are the liars? Nice. Tenet 27. The deepest doubts builds the strongest faith, said no one ever until this horribly uninspired book. Doubt does not build faith. It is literally the exact opposite of faith. Pick up a dictionary sometime. Tenet 29. If you are willing to sell your soul is not worth enough to sell. They aren't interested in your soul. In fact, they don't even care or know if souls exist. All they care about is money, and they know that money exists. They're interested in your money, your friend's money, your relative's money, money, cold hard cash money. Tenet 32. True enlightenment only comes from the deepest humility. Humility is where they want you, broken at the bottom of the pyramid while they're stacking their millions. It doesn't get any more humble than stacking millions, just ask Kanye West. Tenet 33. Your part is just as important as any other, but not as important as the top of the pyramid, because that's where they're at, and that's where the money's at. And I would like to thank Guy Smiley of Anonymous for helping me out with a lot of this information, including the Illuminatium book and the information on the Illuminatus trilogy, and I really appreciate that, and thank you for that. There is no White Room. Now, there was a group of guys in the 80s who read the Illuminatus trilogy, which was published in 1975, and they got intrigued about the White Room, so they made a cheap independent movie with the White Room being the main premise. These two guys are searching for the White Room. They search and search and search, and I hate to spoil the movie for you. You can watch it on YouTube. That's where I got my copy. They find the White Room at the end. It's pretty uneventful. They just walk into a room full of what looks like a fog machine. Has been fogging up the entire room. And there's a guy at a table writing down, I guess, the plans of the future of the Earth, proving that the White Room is based on the Illuminatus trilogy. That these guys made a movie based on what they read. And these guys didn't even read the whole book, so they possibly didn't get the concept that it's symbolic either. Is there illumination? Is there a complete understanding of what's going on out there? I do not claim that I am more intelligent than the next guy, but I can definitely see garbage when I see it, and I tell it like it is. What else can I say? I am searching and researching the Illuminati, and there's not much when it comes to the generic conspiracies, but when it comes to the occult, there is a lot there. I do not recommend for anyone to research the occult unless they're a full-grown adult. I wasn't originally intending on Hoax Hunter delving into the occult, but there are so many paranormal and supernatural things that take place with the occult surrounding them that eventually this was going to happen. Eventually I was going to have to talk about it. So I am going to do a couple episodes on occult-related phenomenon, which are definitely paranormal, which I can't necessarily prove or disprove, but I will give my analysis and my opinion on the subjects. And as you can see, I'm wearing this Illuminati shirt, courtesy of the actual Illuminati, who control the entire planet Earth. Thanks to them, this video is sponsored by them, actually. And they have nothing to do. They told me they were exclusively, extremely adamant. They told me to tell you. This was the reason they gave me this new studio and this new camera and this new lighting and this awesome shirt. They told me to tell the audience that the Illuminatium are complete douchebag losers and they have nothing to do with them, and they're actually embarrassed by these Illuminatium losers who are pushing the Illuminatium as their organization, the real actual Illuminati, told me that these Illuminatium people are perpetrating fraud using their name. So that was a part of the contract of the money I got. I was supposed to give that message to you. But in all seriousness, I don't think there is an Illuminati in the way that people think organization-wise. The organization of an elite, illuminated group of people, I believe, is different than what Mark Dice will tell you. I believe it's different than what Alex Jones will tell you. I believe it's a lot deeper, and I believe it is occult-related. Now, the Mark Dice and Alex Jones guys are going to say stuff like Bohemian Grove is where the world leaders meet. There's the G8 summit where the world leaders meet. There's this, there's that. I believe those are scratching the surface and are what we can see with our eyes. I believe there is potentially an elite illuminated few, and it is occult related, and it is something we cannot see with our eyes. I'm going to delve deeper into this in future episodes. I just wanted to share this with you. And that's my opinion on the subject, and I thank you for watching. This has been John Razimus with Hoax Hunter. Be seeing you.